Hey Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Steve?
Jay, I am feeling fantastic because we just saw the, I guess, fifth iteration of the Fantastic Four, if you count the Corbin movie
Right.
from 2000, from like the 1994. So we just saw Fantastic Four First Steps, and this is Marvel's kind of Marvel Studios first take on the Fantastic Four. They've previously been adapted from, as I've said before, the 1994 Corvin film
Right.
that's been sort of bootlegged and never released. Then you had the Chris Evans Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba, and then you had and Michael Chiklis as the Thing, and then the guy to play Von Doom, who was in Nip Tuck, he tragically passed away a couple weeks ago. Then you had the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer with what's his name, with uh, Lawrence Fishburne voicing the
Oh,
Silver
Silver
Surfer,
Surfer. Okay.
and Galactus was a
You said it was like a cloud.
yeah, it was a cloud, and then you had 20th Century Fox trying to hold on to the rights for the last time. They did Josh Trank's Fantastic Four, or Fan Four Stick as it's known, with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. But I feel like that film, had that been a success, Michael B. Jordan wouldn't be Killmonger in Black Panther.
Gotcha.
So, have you seen any of those Fantastic Four?
I don't think I've seen the last one you're watching. I think I saw the one with Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, what do you
I don't
think?
think I saw the second one
The
though.
sil Okay, so the first one was sort of very much like they go
Origin
out into
story.
space,
Yeah.
origin, Doctor Doom, it's pretty much paint by numbers. I think Chris Evans did a great job as Mr. Fantastic, or as Human Torch, and I think they all did really well. I even think that Michael Chiklis did a really good job as the Thing, and they had a lot more interesting kind of him being the Thing, and more him, the existential of him wanting to be normal is really kind of the big kind of
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah. And Silver Surfer was pretty decent. I thought it was a pretty, the first one came out in 2005. This one came out in 2007. So it was kind of a nice, quick sequel.
Right.
Then you had the Fantastic Four, which was one of those films that Josh Trank really wanted to put his stamp on, and I think 20th Century Fox cut so much stuff out. He actually tweeted, and I think he deleted the tweet where he tweeted that he said like a year ago I had a really good idea for the Fantastic Four. Now you'll never see it, or something like that. And um, and then now we're up to the fifth iteration, but Marvel has it with the Fantastic Four. You had Pedro Pascal
Yeah, it was Mr.
as
Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic, and you know him as the Mandalorian, and he was also in the DC film Wonder Woman. You had was it one Emily Blunt?
It was Vanessa Kirby.
It's Vanessa Kirby, and if that name doesn't sound familiar, she was Princess Diana, Princess Marie in The Crown. She was in Mission Impossible, the Mission Impossible Reckoning. Oh, she played Helena. Um, oh, in Hobbs and Shaw. Did you see that?
No,
The Hulk, or
the one of the Fast and Furious
it was the Fast and the Furious
off. No, I didn't see that.
offshoot. You had but she played Sue Storm, and I really like her as Sue Storm. I think that she kind of she was a little bit more motherly because in this one she's
She
pregnant.
has, yeah, she's a mom,
She's a mom in this
right?
one. And then you had
The
uh
Thing and the Human Torch.
the Heat Thing and the Human Torch. And this one you had Joseph Quinn. I guess we'll go with Elbon Moss Bacharach, who is he was in The Punisher, so he was in the Netflix series The Punisher.
Okay,
He was in John Adams. He played John Quincy Adams. He did voice work in Rick and Morty, and he was in um, let's see, I guess episodes of Damages to name a few. But he plays Ben Grimm, the Thing, and I like him as the Thing. I think in this one, you know, when you had the Michael, and I'm gonna kind of look at the Michael, kind of what we saw before with Michael Chiklis. It was always sort of the him wanting to be normal.
right. He was like the odd one out.
Yeah,
He
he
had
was the odd one out, and I think in this one he accepts it. And
right
this film takes place in the '60s, and like there's a
retro
scene.
future.
Well, yeah, it's kind of the not too far distant future, '60s retro future, where like you know, this film's already established that the Fantastic Four, you know, they kind of were like, okay, in the same way as in, let's say, Spider-Man, the Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man's trilogy,
Right.
really kind of said, okay, we know he's got his
Yeah, you
powers.
don't need to do the origin
We don't
story
need the
5 times.
origin 5 times. This, you know, you kind of get the gist of it. And
Right.
so, I like him as a thing. And then you had um, um, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and he was in Gladiator 2 with Pedro Pascal, episodes of Stranger Things, and that's about it. But I liked him, you know, which it's I'm gonna kind of compare, you know, Chris Evans, Human Torch. What was your thoughts on him as kind of the model bad boy in like the Fantastic Four films? Like he would hang out with models, and he,
Gotcha. I guess
if you
I
remember,
can't remember. I remember the Fantastic, like the Human Torch, and that movie had more of a presence to me.
yeah,
And this one, I guess, if you had to rank which one was your least of the four
out of the four,
of the for this movie,
like who did you like? What do you mean, like the
or like which one was like I don't know the least your least favorite out of
Fantastic Four character in this movie?
yeah,
Like if you had to rank who had the most, I
from just
think
like a movie power, like performance.
performance. I would say that I think Human Torch might have been a little bit not. I think he made it his own, but in the back of your head, you're kind of scratching like Chris Evans did it just a tiny, you know, you it's kind of it's like like I said before, the claw moment, you know, where Chris Evans is more like the Jim Carrey, the claw,
Right.
and you know, and but he did it his. I liked how he made it his own. I think the Quinn made it his own, and he was younger and he was a little bit more smoother. He wasn't kind of like a ladies' man. He was more of a he felt more brotherly to Sue Storm,
That's true. Yeah, I
as
did like that.
opposed to when you look at Jessica Alba and Chris Evans. You know, there's not like a, you know, I think in the second one, Silver Surfer, the Rise of Silver Surfer, there's this moment where they have this kind of moment where Chris Evans, Johnny Storm tells Sue, you know, you look beautiful, and Dad would be proud. So there's some kind of like there, but I think this one's more of a family. Then we also get um um who is it? We get Frank, and I think I liked how that in this one they brought in Franklin Richards,
Oh, their
who
son.
their son, and
Yeah,
I think in the comics that happens, and I think I like how they brought that in, you know, because she's pregnant throughout the most of the first half of the film.
Right.
Um, but I would have to say, let's I guess, how would you kind of, you want to just tell me what the story is, Jay, or you want to just kind of go through the story first and then our thoughts
Gotcha.
after?
Yeah, I guess they sort of they don't go do the origin story, but they stick with this, the Fantastic Four sort of tradition where it's the Silver Surfer and Galactus is the main.
Main bad guy.
Yeah.
And I think, and Galactus, what I did like about this film is, whereas Galactus in Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer was like this big cloud monster,
Um,
this one I liked how he was actually big.
yeah, he's like like the didn't know he wasn't as colorful as like the comic book, but he was like the same shape of the
Yeah, I
Fantastic
did. I
Four.
wish they had put a little bit more purple, lighter purple on there. I did like the fact that they kind of rushed through the origin, and we kind of get them
Yeah.
hanging out at the Baxter building,
Right.
and and they've got, of course, Herbie the robot, their little robot
Right.
buddy,
Yeah, I think it just helps the movie because it sort of like skip over that. Now they get to it's a more. I don't know if I would. This movie did have some action, but like most of it was more the dynamics
the
between like
dynamics and the character
the
development.
crew and Mr. Fantastic.
And I think, and I like Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic because he feels more of like the biggest, the smartest man. There's more depth to him than what I've seen him with Ian Holmes
Right.
or Miles Teller, where he's got more depth to him of being kind of like the smartest man in the room, but also
He still can't figure it out. He's
he
sort of
can't. He's still kind of clueless. But I think they don't play it for comedy in this one as they did in probably you know in the Fantastic Four film, the
older ones.
the older one, the 2005 film. And ironically, this came out 20 years after the second Fantastic Four movie, so that's kind of interesting. But I did like so anyway, so they're um,
I'm trying to
kind
think. Yes,
of
there's the main things with like Galactus topic, but I sort of did like how they brought sort of like they showed brief in the beginning. It sort of comes back a little bit in the movie was the mole
the
people.
mole people,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I think in the comics, the Mole Man was sort of one of the big villains, and I think in the Fantastic Four '94 film,
Uh-huh.
he was the kind of the second villain in the movie. Like,
Okay.
and the Mole Man is played by um, the guy from he was in episodes of Cobra Kai. His name is Paul Walter Hauser. He was in episodes of he was in the I Tonya, and he played Richard Jewell and Clint Eastwood Richard Jewell. He also was in Cobra Kai. He played Raymond.
Okay.
Uh, and he was also in a film called Luckiest Man in America about the guy that cheated on one of the game shows. But anyway, I thought he did pretty good. I thought it was kind of a nice small character, but he actually gave something to the character.
Yeah.
Um, and and then you had, and I, because if you guys know, I did like the fact that they didn't, I was kind of assuming that, and that um they would kind of, meet Doctor Doom in the film when I first heard they were going to do First Steps, before
Right.
the Avengers Doomsday talk was about. But I'll let you know in the spoiler section what my thoughts are. But anyway, I really liked them. I liked how that that Moman was kind of a pretty good kind of like first step villain, if you will.
Right. I think I sort of like it's sort of like they're when they're introducing their sort of like this alternate world. It's sort of like,
Kind of the '60s, but sort of the '60s.
but also the future. But
Kind
it's
of like it's
also
like the '60s, what people thought the '60s
right.
were going to be in the '40s.
Right, because like it's sort of like very everything's sort of a lot more positive.
Yeah, and
You had
there's
like your ridiculous villains like the mole people.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I did like the fact that you know, and I think the film really works on its detriments of being, really kind of give it kind of let it, I think Marvel has a good job, like I kind of said in our last video with Superman, is Marvel lets it breathe. They don't rush it. You know, in a way, they don't hold your hand. I think now, especially with Fantastic Four, because we've already, oh, and Spider Man, where they just sort of say like, but they, where they sort of say we're not going to give you the origin stuff, but we're going to at least, give you guys a decent in
Right.
depth story. Um, so Jay, what was your So I guess then we had the do you want to get into I guess go more into the plot?
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
So where we live off.
So I guess sort of the basically sort of like after the four have shown up, they've sort of like they've sort of not basically solved like all the problems, and they're sort of like very famous, and then all of a sudden the Silver Surfer shows up, and that's sort of
Yeah.
like when they suddenly they've met a
And
problem
the
they can't
silver
fix.
they can't fix, right. And I think the Silver Surfer, and I like how this is the female Silver Surfer, but she's in the comics, so it wasn't this sort of like, oh, she's just a girl Silver Surfer. Like, there's more character to her, which is nice because if you look at the Silver Surfer in going back to the Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, he's more doing this because he kind of lost his family. Like, there's a really good TV show, the animated television show called Silver Surfer. It was on Fox
I didn't know
Kids
that.
way back, probably
Okay.
back in like the 90s. It lasted one season, so it was considered canceled too soon. And it deals with the idea, I mean, like more depth to a children's show about Silver Surfer than let's say most of the movies have done. But it's like he it's a very very interesting show, but I liked how this one was a different Silver Surfer, but it was insane. It was a different character, and it wasn't
Right.
trying to be like, oh, different. I'm the exact character, but I'm in my own separate character.
Right.
Um, but so she shows up, and what did you thought? Did you feel like she was a lot more menacing than let's say Silver Surfers beforehand? I don't know.
I can't remember.
Um, or I mean, I think she had more or not character, but I think she had more of a. There's more of a kind of she's not doing it. She's doing it for power. Not power, but
Well, I guess we learn later on that she's doing it to like so that Galactus will spare her planet.
spare her planet,
Right.
which is I think the same thing. But she sort of. I think in this one, she is. I think at the beginning when we kind of see her, she's more wanting to, you kind of she has a she seems to have more of a motive than anything. But so I it's more about them, and then Galactus shows up, and it's kind of nice to see Galactus finally because
Right.
he was a big space cloud in Fantastic Four 2. And in this one, I like the fact that he's actually like
Yeah.
he kind of reminded me of like if you remember if you're a '90s kid and remember in '64 and the final battle between you and Andros,
Oh yeah. The
and where you're kind of having to shoot the hands,
right.
and I kind of like how he's sort of a cloud, but when he comes to Earth, he's just this gigantic
It's like maybe like a Godzilla.
Godzilla kind of thing going on. And when you saw the trailer, I was really kind of like, I liked how they kind of hit him in the trailer, but but he also talked too, which was kind of interesting.
Right.
Um, I would probably say that I liked how that worked. I like the '60s stuff. I thought that was kind of nice to kind of go back and was it '70s? Was it '60s?
Uh,
It's kind of more of
yeah.
like
Like
it was kind of like a more alternate
67.
timeline,
Right.
60s, 70s, and I liked that they didn't really they didn't try to put too many Easter eggs in. You know,
Right. But they didn't
or
really
put
put
it on the boat.
right.
But I did, but I guess I did like the suits were cool.
No, yeah, that's
You
one of
want to
the
get into the suits and kind of the way the Human Torch looks
yeah.
and
I don't know exactly too much of it, but I did enjoy just the entire just what do you call it, like the aesthetic. The entire
this,
movie was
yeah,
really good. Yeah,
yeah, and I did like the fact that they kind of got this. We got to see them show off their powers in not just a, oh, let me just grab that over there, Mr. Fantastic. And he just moves his hand.
stretch it.
Like,
Yeah,
if you remember in Fantastic Four 2004, 2005, there's like a scene where he's in the bathroom and you see his arms reach out and he grabs toilet paper. And, they're, because I think in that movie they're more dealing with trying to create their powers, but this one sort of changes it. And I like the fact that we also get Sue in this one. Sue Storm is. Should we reveal?
yeah,
Sue Storm is pregnant at the kind of in the first part of the movie,
right.
and she has her baby, and it's Franklin Richards who is in the comics, and I think his powers is cosmic. I think. Um.
Yeah, I don't know about the comics, but in this movie, Galactus says he's like super strong.
Uh. He is. Let's see. Is a. He's a reality manipulating in the
Okay.
comics as he gets. And I think that's kind of what they kind of played with. I did like that, and I like the idea that Galactus needed a baby. I did like, I thought that the guy that played the Human Torch
Uh,
tried not to be Chris Evans
okay.
in
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
Like I was really like, because I feel like there is that, that's the thing that I'm so worried about. Whoever plays, if they ever bring Wolverine, whoever's gonna play Wolverine in the next, if Hugh Jackman said, really does,
Right.
you know, I feel like, he brought something to it where I wasn't like, he didn't try to play it as Chris Evans playing Fantastic Four,
Right.
playing Human Torch. I mean, what was your thoughts,
I just liked
Jay?
how they didn't like a lot of times they go into the trope, like one or two of them is like, oh, they're the dumb ones, and this one they're like all scientists
All
basically.
scientists, and
Yeah.
they all have personalities to
Right.
them too. I like this being grim. I like the fact that he kind of enjoys his celebrityism,
Right.
whereas if you go into the fantastic, which I felt like because it was an origin story, we got to deal more with like being Grimm's existential crisis.
Yeah, and this one he's a lot more connected to humanity. Like he like enjoys cooking and
Cooking,
yeah.
and he's kind of like he's got Herbie the robot. I like the I guess it was ABC kind of because Disney owns Marvel and Disney owns ABC, so it was kind of cool to have that like, hi, welcome to the fifth, sixth,
Right.
the swing 60s, 70s alternate timeline, and and I think it was smart that they brought that into it. I liked the um I guess that was kind of the thing, and I guess, do you want to give us your rating first, or do you want to get into spoilers?
We can rate it. What did you think?
I
What
would,
did you give it, Steve?
if I give it in an alphabetical thing, I'd give it probably B plus, A minus, just because I feel like I wasn't completely wowed, like I wasn't like, oh, if you took it in like a Dark Knight Fantastic, like if I would probably, I would have been more excited. I would have been, it didn't have that same rush, like let's say Endgame or Spider-Man, No Way Home,
Right.
where it was kind of like we got to, I wasn't as hyped, but I was comparing this to the other Fantastic Four. This was a lot better than, let's say, the Fantastic Fours that came before them. I think
Yeah,
Tim
I agree.
Story's version, I think, was was so comic book film, but I think it was also of its time,
Right.
if you will. And I think this one was better than the Fantastic Four. Marvel did it right this time with the Fantastic Four.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah, I really enjoyed their just the whole retro futuristic
yeah,
version.
version,
Yeah, made it feel a lot more fresh than sort of the.
and I liked how there was more of a character to it. I liked the Roby the robot was kind of cool, and you know there wasn't like a and the character there wasn't like a real. I liked when we saw Superman, there was more they were more hopeful in Fantastic Four than they were like the citizens were
Oh
more
yeah,
hopeful.
that's I sort of enjoyed that with this movie. That
Yeah,
it's sort of
it was happier. I felt like it was
yeah
happier. It wasn't as
gloomy and like
it
yeah
wasn't gloomy and I think what I kind of look at with this one was it was happier and it really was. I mean, it would be it's a fun Saturday night movie. I would say I wouldn't say it was a matinee type film.
right
I would say it's a let's go to the movies and watch it. Maybe you know, maybe watch. I think if we watched all three Fantastic Four films before this, and we would have kind of like a news, you know.
right
Um, but let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. Do spoilers. Um, Fantastic Four. So spoilers is I really liked they defeat Galactus or
they
like
teleport him away
teleport him away pretty much.
right
And at the end, which I kind of thought that I was kind of thinking that they were going to, because of, I mean, there's no secret that the next Avengers 4 or 5 is
Doomsday
Doomsday.
right
And I mean, that was sort of really quickly done due to necessity because of the guy that played Kang got in trouble for like beating on,
okay
beating.
yeah I never saw that movie. Was he in the Ant
He
Man?
was in the Ant-Man
Okay,
movie,
never
and then
saw
I
that
think
one.
he was supposed to be the main bad guy in
Of
that
the
one.
next round of
And
Marvel.
then because of
What he did.
what he did, they were like, and Marvel's
Yeah,
owned by
kicked him.
Disney, and I would probably have said the same thing. They fired him, and they kind of rewrote it to do Avengers Doomsday.
Gotcha.
And I kind of like the fact that they're bringing Doctor Doom as maybe the big bad guy because I was kind of hoping, and this is spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, pause it, come back. I was hoping that he would have showed up, Robert Downey Jr. because
Right.
would have showed up and said, "Who are you? I am Iron. I am Doctor Doom. Or something like that."
Right.
But to kind of have it more of a kind of leave you hanging was a better kind of
Right.
thing. I guess I would have to say, you know, I did like it. I think it worked pretty well. I thought the cast was good. I think the bringing, Pedro Pascal. I think it's kind of interesting because he's so diverse of an actor. Pedro Pascal is so diverse that I felt like he really brought kind of became his own Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
Like he's good in everything I can remember seeing him in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think the guy that played Johnny Storm he didn't try to be Chris Evans. He tried to be his own thing, and he had that kind of coolness. I mean, he's
Yeah.
that hotness, let's say,
Yeah.
of kind of what I saw Johnny Storm as. But I do think that he did really well. And to me, I feel like it was a pretty good first step, and I think it got it. Do you feel like this one got it right for the most part, comparing it to all the
Yeah.
other
They got
three?
this is the closest. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it really worked, and um, I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do. I liked Sue Storm. I felt like she was a strong female character, but she never was like she was a character, you know.
Right. I like how in this one, like, there's a lot of times with her character, like she would like do something crazy strong and then like passes out. But this time, like she's like pushing, like the strongest person in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah, 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 yeah. I do kind of think that way, and I really feel like it works out pretty good. So, Jay, on a scale, let's do it two ways. We're gonna rate these movies on a scale between kind of as a film slash comic book film on a scale from 1 to 10.
Uh,
How would you rate it? And then the next one will be how would you rate it as a Fantastic Four film,
okay,
comparing it all to all the other ones, and
gotcha.
like maybe ranking them. So as a film, as a comic book film, do you feel like this movie brought you think this is where we had such a slouch with Marvel films, and now they're really trying to get their stuff back, kind of getting back together, kind of like um
Uh, I really like this. I also really like Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolt. Well, no, you
Yeah,
think Thunderbolts and this film,
yeah.
like, or let's say Fate, the Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four, have they been as sort of the Marvel films, as they do you feel like they're getting back on track?
I actually, I guess the Captain America one was not. I don't know. That one didn't. It was not my favorite.
Favorite? Well, I mean, I can understand that,
But
but
I did enjoy Thunderbolts and
well, Thunderbolts felt for me, and I think Thunderbolts felt for me like they were, I think, trying to be. I think they took a page out of. They weren't trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but they were trying to be sort of the Marvel version of Suicide Squad. That they had that Suicide Squad feel to it.
I think a lot of those like those ones, and also like the Captain America even more so. They bring in all these people from the shows, and like I have no idea who
And
these
and
are.
and I think
Yeah,
the problem is
there's I don't know.
you
There's too
can't
much
you
content.
can't you can't you have to explain to people who these are, to an audience that doesn't get it. I don't need to know. I'd be like, you were like, who's that guy? Well, that guy was that. If you ever watched it, like, no, I don't. I'm just here for the movies. I don't need to watch 4 episodes, 5
5 seasons of
seasons of a show.
right.
I mean, I think that I would give it probably on a 1 to 10 scale. I'd give it probably 8.5,
Okay.
maybe 9. I wasn't like, I'm not totally I would be more I was more excited about Spider-Man, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
That, I mean, in that stage of it. As a Fantastic Four film, I would probably put this one maybe up, probably the first one, and then the other three low. I think this is the best out
No,
of the
I
Fantastic Four
totally agree with that. Yeah.
four films. But I think it worked pretty well. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with Doctor, with Avengers Doomsday coming out. I really liked what they're kind of working on. So uh, let's just say that, is Marvel back, or are they kind of crawling back?
I think the next movie will tell us. The Doomsday one will be there. The
The
linchpin.
listing, yeah. So, without a further ado, I'm Steve, and if you're listening to this on a Friday, have a fantastic Friday. And of course, as always, with me is my friend,
Jay.
and see you at the movies. Bye.